ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about Wagerwire. Wagerwire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at Wagerwire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search Wagerwire and download.
Check this out, we got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week for the NCAA Insiders. 3 men in a box today. Mr. Nick Hathco, Quentin Mills, joining us here for the final weekend, conference championship weekend. Mr. Matt Grissom on assignment on VSiN. Shout out to you, Matt. Enjoy yourself there. Rubber hits the road, boys, and it's time to find out who's going to get to the championship game, who potentially is going to win that game, and then, of course, brackets come out on Monday as we begin the week of the regionals, of course. Shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's Wagerwire. Head on over to Google Play. Download the app. That is free. AtlantaSteaksandSeafood.com. Introduce yourself to Mr. Terry Smith over on Facebook. Then come on back to AtlantaSteaksandSeafood.com. Steaks, chops, seafood, appetizers, wine. Terry's got it all delivered right to your front door. And he's got 4 subscription plans. Just set it and forget it. Terry will deliver you your protein you need for the month, like he does to me every month. And the only thing you'll need is a spare propane tank. So without further ado, Mr. Nick Hathcote, and driving, be careful, Mr. Quentin Mills. What's up, boys?
Morning, Jay.
Episode 2 of JD on the streets, but point of the neighborhood, so we're safe and sound here.
Well, that's all that matters here. Listen, we got the semifinals. Currently, right now in the Big Ten, USC up 1-0 against Washington. Bottom of the 4th, USC closed minus 345, so short lead there. We get to the Final Four in the conferences. I'll begin with you, Mr. Hathcote. Shockers, surprises, duds, what have you seen?
The whole ACC has been shocking for the most part. You had the 14 and 15, 16 seeds all advanced past round 1, and they were all against teams that were still fighting for basically postseason berth. You think of Notre Dame losing, Virginia in the quarterfinal, or not even the quarterfinal. Virginia literally laying an egg against a Boston College team that hasn't been good all year. Miami, same thing, getting run-rolled by Cal. So it's the ACC has done nothing to help itself at all. When in terms of like they were hoping to get 10 or 11 in, and now all those teams that were on the bubble might be on the outside looking in. Luckily for them, so far it doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of bid stealers. I think we're at 1 right now, maybe 2. So it's still going to be questionable. I think Virginia is going to be shaken. Notre Dame, if it were me, I think they're probably out. And Miami, who wasn't on the bubble 2 weeks ago because they were playing, they might have been the hottest team in the ACC outside of, say, North Carolina and Florida State. Now they're probably getting pushed back to where there might be like last 4 in or last 8 in. So even they're not comfortable.
I look at the ACCQ, Duke, Florida State, DraftKings, Florida State minus 175 with the 12. BC, North Carolina minus 520. I was in South Carolina last weekend. I was watching North Carolina, Florida State. I was going to send you guys a text. This North Carolina team is pretty damn good. I think we could be setting up for a rematch, Florida State, North Carolina. Thoughts on North Carolina, Q? Am I drinking the baby blue Kool-Aid too much here?
No, we talked about it midweek on the show. I got to eat crow on it, right? They've always had pitching. They have probably the best depth in the country in terms of they've got 4 and 5 guys deep because 2 of those guys can come out of the bullpen. They have a great closer. Their offense was electric at times. They kind of went through a little lull midway through the season, but they found it again. They're not going to overpower you in a game, but they're able to hit gap-to-gap doubles, big-time singles. Like, they can just move runners over, and that's dangerous. You've got to have a balance in Omaha, specifically to Charles Schwab Field. You've got to be able to put one over the fence from time to time and be able to gain 2 or 3 runs in one punch. But you've also got to be able to hit in the gaps. The teams that are able to hit in the gaps consistently and successfully are the teams that ultimately come out on top because they can move those guys, from point A to point B and get those guys home. So, no, I don't think by any stretch are you drinking the Kool-Aid per se. I think you're hopping on the right train.
Looking at some other matchups here that kind of surprised me. West Virginia kind of getting their stride back. They're minus 180 against Arizona today. Winner faces TCU, Kansas. TCU looks like minus 135 right now. Q, anything jump out at you that you were surprised to get to these Final Four matchups?
I think Oklahoma State is peaking at the right time. They've played good baseball. Yesterday was a heartbreaker for them. I kind of, Kansas got lucky. So maybe Kansas in a sense, but Kansas has had pretty successful, all season long. They've just been able to hit that game tying or game leading hit or home run or whatever, the situation dictates all season. So I don't necessarily think that's surprising. I would look, I think Ole Miss beating Florida, if we're going to talk about a surprise, was a little surprising to me. It's just as hot as Florida was. I thought they were in a revenge spot for losing the series. I think we're all surprised. Jace Laviolette broke his finger. That's going to really hurt Texas A&M moving forward. Hopefully they can get him back. So those were not major surprises, but those would be the biggest if I had to give you one. Jeff, one real quick. I'm going to just run in the house and get a little better setup here. I'll be right back.
All right, Nick, I'm looking at the Final Four here in the SEC. Mississippi, Arkansas minus 315 on DraftKings. You can get Ole Miss plus 230. Texas A&M, LSU minus 425. After A&M kind of chunked it up against Missouri, they're trying to save face here. I don't see Tennessee here. What the hell happened?
No, Tennessee won. They're just on the top part of the bracket. Yeah, Tennessee beat Texas yesterday. Yeah, so they are not in the semi. So they just moved to the semifinals. The 2 games today are to be the Final Four in the SEC. Okay. So it's still today's games are still quarterfinals. So yeah, Tennessee beat Texas yesterday in an awesome game. They were down 4-0, came back and tied it, then took the lead in the 9th, but then gave it up in the bottom. Then took the lead in the 10th, gave it up in the bottom of the 10th. And then finally went up 2 runs in the 12th and held it. So it was an awesome game. Obviously, working the ACC tournament, I kind of had it like on a little corner piece of my computer as I was trying to do both. So that was interesting. And then had a press conference, literally during Tennessee's comeback was right during the middle of the press conference for Georgia Tech and Cal. So I literally missed the whole thing and then checked the score and saw it was tied up and was pretty pumped about it. But yeah, I think today's game is just pointing out in the SEC. I think it's a little bit lopsided. I wouldn't be shocked if Ole Miss beats Arkansas, but I have Arkansas in a parlay today. I really do think Arkansas, just because they're set up well with Zach Root. I believe it's Riley Maddox going for Ole Miss. So that's a pitching advantage there. Hitting advantage is still Arkansas. Ole Miss just isn't as good. And then you've got on the LSU A&M. Q mentioned losing Laviolette. It's kind of it's like everything that has possibly gone wrong this season for A&M, like, just keeps going wrong. And now it's you lose your best player after Caden Sorrell gets put out last week. So I think this is the end of the road. Not because they get Kate Anderson and LSU today. So I think both favorites are pretty big favorites for a reason today and should both win it.
Battle-tested SEC. Quentin, you got Biff's Almanac. When the dust settles, depending upon whatever happens over the next 3 days here or 2 days here, how many SEC teams are getting in, and who gets left out?
Well, if A&M can somehow figure out a way to step up in Jace's absence with Caden Kent and Wyatt Hensler and some other guys, and they win the SEC tournament, they'll be in on an automatic bid. So that would get SEC 14. Realistically, they're probably the team that gets left out. So you're going to end up with 13 teams. It's probably the most accurate projection.
Thoughts before Monday with your Gators? I think, like I compare it to March Madness, the battle-tested conferences. I know baseball's different. You need strong starting pitching. You can't have your ace go out and give you 2 1/3 because it's going to ruin your bullpen for the rest of the weekend there. But are you okay where you're sitting right now? You've had some great magical runs. Once the light comes on, are you feeling that same way this year, Q?
I'll say this. Last year, we didn't even know if they were going to get in. They had to break 500 and then win a game in the SEC tournament. They did that. They lose the next one, and they get in and make the run. This year, we're comfortable. The host seed is pretty much out with the loss to Ole Miss, but they're going to be a high 2 seed. They're going to be one of the higher ones. So they're projecting probably in the 13-14 region, I would say. I think they can get, based on the teams that are kind of pondering in that area, Coastal is kind of in that area, some other teams. I think they can get out of the region. The problem is when you're a 13, 14, 15, or 16, number 2, you're going to Arkansas. You're going back to Texas where you just beat them. Like, now you have to go back in there. They're pissed off. You have to do it again. That's going to be tough. The 2 teams I would like to see Florida matched up with, if the seeding goes accurately, is Auburn, surprisingly, because this year's scouting report, I think the pitching is good enough to keep them in the games. And Sam Dutton is really the one guy that they truly will struggle with. But they do have bats in the line that have stepped up. The other team is Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt at home, I know, is a beast, but Florida was swept by them. Florida actually played pretty decent the first 2 games before getting blown out in the Sunday game. They can compete with Vanderbilt without a doubt. J.D. Thompson is going to pitch the Friday for whoever they play. They've torn him up the first 2 years of his career there. They know him. He had an elite year. They have the bats that can step up to do it. I just would hate to see them have to go to, Baum Walker, where it's virtually impossible if your team isn't in a purple uniform color to win in the postseason, or a Texas or an LSU or somebody like that. So if they can avoid those, powerhouse teams, then I think they can actually make a run and get to Omaha. And I don't think too many people would be surprised given how they did last year.
Nick, a couple years ago, UConn in hoops lost in the semis, and I said that was the best thing that could have happened to them. Get an extra couple days rest, and then what happens? They go 6-0, and they won by double digits every game. How big is this title? How big is this for pride, prestige? I know you've lost a handful of series in a row. Is the SEC title worth playing that extra day and saving some arms?
I personally would say no. And especially right now, Tennessee accomplished what they needed to this week. They were kind of outside of the top 16 going into the week. Like, they weren't going to be a host going into the SEC tourney. You could probably say Florida was ahead of them, Bama, and Ole Miss. 2 of those 3 teams are out. And like, if they get compared by the committee, Tennessee swept Florida. They've beaten Bama 3 out of 4 times, and they took 2 of 3 at Ole Miss. So it's like, anytime that's getting compared, Tennessee's going to be ahead of them. Their RPI is also up to 9. So they accomplished everything they need to. Now, and they've already started their main 2 guys, like with Marcus Phillips and Liam Doyle the last 2 days. So, like, maybe, and then they'll use tomorrow against Vandy to get their bullpen work that they need to. Like, so I won't be surprised if they throw 7-8 guys out there against Vandy. And then, so if they get beat, then you're still set up with your normal rotation for next week. Your bullpen guys are rested, and you've got a host, which is what you wanted out of this week. So it's like if you make a run, say your offense keeps putting up 8, 10, 12 runs, then so be it that way. I don't think you risk your arms to do it and like try to win like a 2-1 game by really focusing on the pitching staff and just wearing out the arms.
Well, we got the Final Fours. We got actually a couple extra games as we speak. USC 2-0 now, bottom of the fourth. I'll start with you, Nick. Any games in pocket? I don't want you to give everything out, of course, with your Dub Club here. What are your eyes seeing for today and maybe potentially tomorrow?
Well, shout out to Q. I think we're both on one of them because there was a mistake by a book that listed on accident a total at 7.5 this morning. So I jumped on that and posted it right away. I don't know if you posted it or not, but he's on it as well. So that was the Arizona game. So both on that one. And then I also I parlayed, it's close to one we talked about. I parlayed Arkansas with Florida State. I'll take Zach Root and Jamie Arnold, like two ace lefties in two games that I think I was surprised Florida State. Like Duke is kind of playing at home. Obviously here in Durham, it's right down the road. They're sleeping in their own beds. The crowd will obviously be Duke favored, but I'll still take Jamie Arnold all day. So yeah, so give me that, and I think it was plus 123 is what I played that. So Florida State and Arkansas parlay.
Q.
Yeah, I'll give out the 7.5. I don't think it's available anymore.
No.
It's up there for a couple hours, so you definitely had time to get it. But I can tell you what, Paul Skeens and Brent Lauder aren't trotting out today, where you're looking at a 2-1 game.
They're playing in the Polo Grounds, it seems like right now.
I'll tell you what,
it's awful.
We hammer the 7.5, and it'll be a 3-2 game, and that you just chalk it up to college baseball. So I'll also go with Nick on the Arkansas play. Love Zach Root. Zach Root's actually got a little something to give Ole Miss. They kind of hit him around earlier in the season, and I think he's going to bounce back in a very strong way. I stayed in the SEC and went to LSU. Cade Anderson he's going to get his full work today because they're still able to get him full rest for regionals. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes 6+, and then they're going to get those bullpen guys some work. And again, you had all the momentum. You've won 2 straight, and then you lose Jace. At some point, like a loss like that, now you've slept over it overnight. Like it's kind of setting in, right? Your best player, top 5 player in the country, is not suiting up tonight against a tough LSU team. LSU probably just wants to win one game, and then they can kind of, go to the Tennessee aspect of just resting guys, and so be it. So I really like that play. A little worse odds, minus 110, but I really like it. So I'll give that out.
Scroll has been going the whole time. You guys will be back here Tuesday with us at around 11 a.m. We're going to talk brackets. We're going to talk about who got left out, who's in, find some diamonds in the rough for the regionals. But as always, Nick, tell them where they can find all your work.
Yeah, at InHathcote413 on X. Also follow our NCAA Insiders on X. I've been posting on there a lot this week from the ACC tournament. Just kind of some inside type stuff, whether it's from the press box or just videos of the game and big plays. Started doing now that it's quarterfinals, mix in the live press conferences yesterday. So I'll be doing that again today. So just quality follow. Obviously, we cover all the games, so still trying to watch them all. But we can only do so much. There's only 4 of us. But yeah, so I'd say those. Our Discord is still running full. Like it's more active now than it's been all season. There's just constant talk in there from other fans, not just fans of us, but just college baseball fans in general. So if anybody wants that, can DM any of us, and we can get you a link.
Q.
At Q Millie on X, that's 3 L's, 2 Y's, as we always say. And then collegebaseballinsiders.com has all of our matchup projections. We're updating pitchers as soon as we can. You start getting to Johnny Holstaff at this point in the tournament. So, and I'll add on to that. Like Nick's done an awesome job, for the ACC, the pressers. A lot of times you can get a coach to kind of slip up and tell you who he's projected to throw, and it just doesn't have the time for somebody to upload that on a site. So you get a lot of valuable information there, kind of where the coach is heading into the next game. So definitely tune into those. But then College Baseball Insiders /Clubhouse. We're officially going to go live today with it on X. But if you click Clubhouse, you'll see a postseason package. Super cheap. You get all 3 rounds and then the remaining conference tournament schedule. So it's super good deal. Jump on board with us, and we've all stayed positive. So we're having a good year.
Yeah, 5-0 day yesterday. So like that money would have been, think of it that way. The money would have been made up
Yeah.
within like 2 or 3 plays.
Yep.
So it's 1,000% work. We do the work for you. If you don't even want to use obviously our website's free, but if you don't want to do any of the work, yeah, we're here to do it for you. So it works.
Gentlemen, go enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the baseball. Can't wait to break down the bracket. Can't wait to talk about your College World Series guide. And in a few weeks, you'll be heading to Omaha. Have a great weekend, gentlemen.
Take it
Thanks
easy.
a lot, Jeff.
Take care. Go follow the boys. That's Nick Hathcote, Quentin Mills, NCAA Insiders, the best in the business. Matt Grissom on assignment on VSiN. When we come back, Matthew George, break down that OKC wagon. Little Caitlin Clark, and we got some games on the docket today. Stay tuned.
Jared, hey, we're going to need you to tone it down with the Summer Friday thing, okay?
What are you talking about?
Well, for one, it's not summer anymore.
Oh, really?
Coconut. Also, who is this?
I'm the caddy.
Oh, he's my intern.
Sorry, intern. I'm his intern.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
No golfing in the office, okay? Summer Fridays are over. You can keep the Hawaiian shirt, but the rest of the stuff, all right? Are you grilling?
Oh, yeah. Did you want a burger or a hot dog?
No, grilling in the office.
That's a good point. We should take this outside.
No, that don't. You put that right back down.
Yo, it's all in the hips.
Oh, dude, come on, we gotta go. Let's go.
I did an earlier show with Andrew McGinnis this morning at McGinnis Picks for Wager Talk, and we were talking about the wagon called the Florida Panthers. Well, I think I can say in the same breath the wagon called the OKC Thunder. So without further ado, Mr. Matthew George. Morning, sir.
Morning, Jeff. How we doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I mean, somewhat entertaining game last night, but I mean, as I said yesterday, I kind of expected this.
Well, at this point, listen, do I think that Ant and company are going to steal a game at home? I do. I really do. I think, especially game 3, you got the crowd. This is their one time to shine here. Whether you play Minnesota first half and you get out of Dodge, but they got to make a statement, and they have to do it, obviously, in game 3. You can't go down 3-0. Are we looking at the inevitable? They win game 3, they lose game 4, they get blown out in game 5? Or is there time still here to regroup for Ant and company?
I don't think so, Jeff. I think you said it right on the nail. Like I said yesterday, the expectation for me last night was that if OKC was still dominant in the way that their offense and defense flowed in game 1, in game 2, that they blow them out again. I say that the series goes in 5. Again, I think they might steal a series. They might steal a game at home. In these next 2 games, either in game 3 or game 4, but my full expectation, like I said, it's 5-0 because OKC is definitely the better team in terms of the way they flow with their offense and their defense. Really, it's really just been a whole dominance for these first 2 games, at least from the OKC side. So we'll see what happens in these next 2 games as they go on the road. But I mean, even then, they were still pretty decent on the road against a good playoff experienced Nuggets team. So, but it'll be interesting to see how far they can go.
Well, we got a game tonight. New York hosting the Pacers. We remember it very like it was yesterday, what transpired. Knicks big lead. Indiana just caught fire. Looked like a game winner. 3-pointer, Reggie Miller-esque with the choke sign. Foot on the line, of course, but they take care of business in overtime. Overnight, Knicks opened up at 6 with a 226.5. At the circa right now, 6.5 with a 224.5. Again, I'm a numbers guy. I leave my heart and the ego at the door every morning. It's just what you have to do in this business. I hate betting on the come. I'm not playing craps. I'm not at the casino here. But it looks like this number is set up. Everyone in the world saw 3 periods what the Knicks did, and they blew it. That's a big number tonight, Matt.
It is, Jeff, and the thing is that like the books are expecting that the Knicks are still the better team, so it's just a matter of how we said yesterday in terms of Tibbs actually keeping his players in check. Like obviously, you have to keep Jalen Brunson on the floor, Cat on the floor as well, but you have to manage their minutes. So until until they say otherwise, especially if the Pacers win game 2 tonight, then I would say that the Pacers will probably be favored in these next 2 games because the Knicks are going to go on the road to Indiana. So it'll be interesting how this transpires. But for tonight, it's going to be very interesting as well since the Knicks are heavily, as you said, the Knicks are heavily favored. Honestly, with the over under of 224.5 is also very interesting. I would still go over 224 because I mean these are two heavily offensive teams, especially with the Pacers. But in terms of the prop market itself, we're going two straight play two of the top players on the team, Tyrese Halliburton and Jalen Brunson. So we're going Tyrese Halliburton at minus 130 for 20 plus points, and Jalen Brunson with 30 plus points at minus 115. Jalen Brunson has gotten 30 points in his last 2 straight games. Obviously, trying to dominate because he had to help his team to win game 1 in this series. And then Jalen Brunson had 2 out of the last 4 games with 30 plus points. So these two players are going to be the main factors tonight in this matchup because they're the star players of the team, and they definitely need to step up for on both sides as well. It's going to be another Jalen Brunson clutch moment because I mean I don't know if Tibbs is going to be able to keep his players in check, but we'll see what happens in game 2 tonight.
Well, we're looking around here, and I'm just trying to take a look at here. We have, what is it? When's the next OKC Minnesota game?
That would be tomorrow, I believe.
I I know it's a big weekend in Indiana because they have the Indianapolis 500
They do.
on Sunday, and I heard Monday. They're not giving these guys that much rest, are they?
I don't think so. From what I see here, the Thunder game 3 versus the Timberwolves would be on Saturday, and then Sunday would still be game 3 for Indiana and the Pacers, but that would be at 8 p.m. Eastern.
All right. Where do you want to go next? Where to break down?
Yeah, so we have the game 3 because lines are out for game 3 with the Thunder and the Timberwolves. So I've created an SGP same game parlay. I know Scott, and if you guys see on Sports Grid, that's Scott Wetzel does the same game parlay as well. So we're kind of taking that mix in there as well. But we're going. I did this yesterday. And we actually hit this yesterday with 2 out of the 3 players with SGA and Jalen Williams. Both of them hit both of them hit the props wide beyond the margin. So we're taking that again, and then we're including Chet Holmgren. So the 30 plus points minus 170 now compared to yesterday was a little bit heavily juiced with SGA, and so he's hit 9 out of his last 13 games in the playoffs, including last night. The same thing with Jalen Williams with 20 plus points. He hit that last night way over. So we're going down again plus 20 points at minus 160. And then Chet Holmgren at plus 15 points at minus 184. So you can parlay that for a plus 359. That's at least how I got it last night. Because again, I fully expect that this team, even though going on the road, is going to be one of the big factors of this team. They're obviously the best 3 players on the team, 1, 2, 3, respectively. And until I see otherwise, that the Timberwolves can basically step up and make a run. As we know, the NBA especially, it's all about runs. And until I see that from the Timberwolves, it's going to be these 3 guys and the whole team stepping up in game 3.
Well, we can't wait. Of course, the Mecca tonight, game 3 Saturday. Any best bets or anything you're looking towards today overall for the night.
Yeah, and I think tonight is the whole WNBA slate, because I looked at like a lot of the I looked a lot of the matchups, and I'm just like, do I really want to go specific? Let's not go too specific now. So let's just go with the 4-leg parlay for all four of the games. We're gonna take each one of them as well. So for the first game up, I believe was the Lynx versus the Sun, with the Fisher Collier at minus 175 being the top scorer. She's been so dominant, especially coming off of the last year loss in against the Liberty in the finals. So she definitely wants to help the team step up and be able to contend for another title. And her first three games, 34 points, 23 points, and 28 points. So it wouldn't surprise me if she beats the top scorer against the Sun tonight. The Sun obviously have been a mess of a team since they lost basically their entire starting lineup. So we're getting the Fisher Collier minus 175 in terms of the top score against the Sparks and the Valkyries. The Sparks have definitely been on a tear. The first two games of the season, unfortunately, did lose their last two games, but Kelsey Plum, the impact that she's had, especially since she's left the Aces, has been stellar. She's averaged over 26 points per game so far in these first three games of the season. So I'm going to take the Valkyries at minus 106 on the spread at 11.5. The Valkyries obviously are a new franchise, so they need a lot of work. Even though they won their last game, they still need a lot of work as a new franchise. On the other side, we're going to take AJ Wilson at a double-double. I mean, this is a heavily juiced, but we're just parlaying that at minus 460 since the first two games, 31 points and 16 rebounds against the Liberty, and then 22 points and 10 rebounds against the Connecticut Sun. So she's dominant. She's the reigning MVP. I mean, obviously you could put that part in the parlay piece. And then for the Phoenix Mercury, Satu Sabli has been a stellar acquisition for the team since leaving New York and coming to the team. She's been the top scorer of the team at minus 108. So we're going to take her over 23.5 points. She's gotten 27 and 25 in her first two games of the season. So we're going to parlay that 4-leg parlay for a plus 616. It's it's a heavy one. I don't usually do these, but I like doing them specifically because the WNBA season is underway and it's very exciting.
We talked yesterday, the rematch last night, Caitlin Clark, they traveled to Atlanta. I'm a numbers guy. They hosted them earlier this week, opened 9-point favorites, closed 7.5-point favorites, and if they lose to Atlanta outright at home. And now they traveled last night and opened 3-point favorites. There was some 4s, some 4.5s. I left it on the desk. Being a numbers guy, 9-point favorites at home and still 3-4-point favorites on the road. And of course, it came down to the final 20 seconds. They're up 3. It was a nip and tuck game the whole time. Up 3, miss, 2 free throws, lands on 5. Thanks for playing. I had Caitlin Clark. I had them on the desk, but again, one of those games I didn't release. It's one of those 50-50 balls. If they come down, Atlanta scores, it could go to overtime, could land on 1, could have landed on 3. Thoughts? Caitlin did not have a good game last night.
No, she only had 11 points and 0 of 5 from 3. So I definitely missed the mark because I had it for 20 points and 4+ made threes. That definitely didn't happen. But the thing last night was Natasha Howard. I mean, she was completely dominant on the floor. 26 points and 7 rebounds, 12 of 17 from the field. Absolutely dominant in the paint. So she was the main factor of why this team was able to step up in a big way on the road. So, I mean, especially keeping Brittany Griner to only 5 points, and although Ryan Howe was the big benefactor on the team for the Dream, the team definitely stepped up on defense, especially the Fever stepped up on defense, especially towards the end of the fourth quarter. So, I mean, despite Caitlin Clark not having a good game, this team overall was able to step up in big ways, and Natasha Howard was definitely the focal point of that.
overnight. Well, I think it was last night. SGA named 2025 MVP to the NBA. To not many surprised. I'm assuming you weren't surprised either.
No, absolutely not. And it was kind of a foot race between Nikola Jokic and SGA. But then the thing was that the amount of impact that SGA has been for the OKC Thunder has just been too dominant compared to the other finalists. Again, 32.7 points per game, 6.4 assists, and 5 rebounds throughout the regular season for SGA. I mean, you can't see enough of how much of an impact that he had for this team. He was a finalist last season, and he definitely deserved it either this season or last season. Either or, you could have flipped it, but for this season, it's definitely humbling for him to earn it because he's dominant. And he's one of the best guards in the league. And the way I know we were talking about this last week, where him, Anthony Edwards, and all these guys like Victor Wembanyama, these guys are stepping up now to be the faces of the league, and it's definitely showing it because SGA is only 26, and he's a year younger than me, and he's being one of the best players on the planet. So it's just showing that the new guys are stepping up and stepping up in a big way. SGA is no regard for that, and he's definitely deserving of it.
David Altman named new head coach for the Nuggets. Took over as the interim coach. 3-4 games left. I guess his trial was, can you get us through the first round? He did. Surprised with that move?
I don't think so. It's the right move for the Nuggets because the way that David Adelman was able to manage his players was completely. I mean, stellar. You took the OKC Thunder in the semifinals to a 7-game series. I mean, that has to say something to your team. Obviously, he didn't. Obviously, they couldn't really win that series. It was a tough series regardless. But even if said so about them losing that series against the Thunder, David Adelman knew how to manage the players and knew how to manage the minutes. So now it's a matter of, can he and the franchise work out a way to get back into playoff contention and compete for another title in the 2026 season. So it's not surprising to me, but also the fact of how can this team be better. Don't bring everyone back, at least from my opinion, and also Coach and I talked about this as well. Do not bring back every single one of your players for next season. I would say for the most part, keep 4 players: Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon, Christian Brown, and Jamal Murray. Get rid of Michael Porter Jr. as his value has kind of tip top because he was not really efficient in the playoffs, but he's still a very good asset and a very good 3-point shooter. It's just a matter of how much value you can get out of him because he's also a little bit injury prone. But I think you can get some value out of him and get some good role players for the bench to help, either if Russell Westbrook stays because he still might be in the contract, but a matter of helping the bench. That's the main thing that the Nuggets need, aside from having that top heavy starting lineup.
And last but not least, Kelvin Sampson, 4-year extension. Houston Cougars NCAA runner-up. They wish they could have the last 4 minutes back there. The third favorites, plus 1,200 going into next year. Big Sampson fan. Really turned that program around. Always one of the best defensive teams. The last couple of years, the offense has gotten a lot better, and they reward him with a 4-year extension.
Yeah, and they're still gonna have a lot of good players for next season. So they're gonna lose LJ Cryer, they're gonna lose I believe another player as well. But for the most part, they're keeping their top heavy players on this team as well. So Emmanuel Sharp is going to be probably the main focal point of this offense next season. That and Milos Uzan, because those two players have definitely stepped up in last season, and now that LJ Cryer is going to be leaving, Emmanuel Sharp is definitely going to be the main focal point of the offense. So here's hoping that Kelvin Sampson is still going to be able to recruit guys because obviously he's one of the best. He has one of the best teams in the country and then one of the best programs in the country, as we mentioned. So, unexpected, not surprising that he is deserved of the 4-year extension. Now it's just a matter of how they can do it because they're. I mean, to me, I'm a Florida Gators guy in terms of just not just last season, but how this team's been able to develop. And now that I'm just shifting over towards Florida, they just got Arkansas's booking Fland. So you got him and you got Xavier Lee. That is definitely a 1-2 punch that can definitely compete with the Houston Cougars. At least that's what I think.
Well, there's a team not too far from you that plays a handful of times at the Mecca, right down the road from your stores, called the Yukon Huskies that are reloading as we speak. I can't wait to talk college hoops with you throughout next year, as always. Scroll has been going most of the time here. They can follow you on X at MG28_sports. I know where to find you on Sports Grid, but I want you to tell the world and everyone watching here where they can find your work, your podcast with Coach Young.
Of course, and so Jeff mentioned with Coach Young, we do a podcast every Tuesday and Thursday that gets released. We record Monday and Wednesday, and then it gets released the next day. And then on Tuesday and Wednesday, I produce a show called In Game Live at Game Day, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. You receive Jeff Dawson at least once a week as well. I'm gonna have him try to come back next week as well to talk more college, to talk more NBA and NHL playoffs, and also baseball as well. So be sure to follow that and follow me on X as Jeff mentioned at MG28 Sports. I'm going to recap. If you guys missed it, I'm going to recap everything. I'm going to post everything in terms of our same game parlays and the plays that we have for tonight and throughout the weekend as well, if you guys want to check that out.
2 p.m. Scott Webb, the odds couple, is back. We're going to talk MLB Friday Night Lights. I will actually be making a guest appearance tonight at 8:32 on In Game Live. The other Matt reached out to me. I said, all right, we'll head on over. So I will be on Sports Grid In Game Live 8:32 tonight as well. Everyone, it's Memorial Day weekend. Be safe. Enjoy yourselves. Stay in your lanes. We got NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, baseball, Indy 500, WNBA, you name it, we got it. So enjoy yourselves. We'll see you back in a few hours. Stay tuned.